Okay. Intro time, right?
Yeah, we're here. We're ready to do the Bro That's Wicked Smaht podcast. We have our special guest down on the left. His name is Sam Miele. As you know, he is our father. There is no clapping.
They might not know, but he is our father.
No, that's right. He is our father. I mean, the apple does fall far from the tree in this case.
In a good or bad way?
The audience can be the judge.
I think the saying is the nut doesn't fall far from the tree. That's
you're not supposed to talk yet. Sam Miele, everybody.
Hey,
Now you can talk.
add clapping, please.
And we got Sam Miele in the middle with
What's
his
up?
lovely sweater. Sam, tell me about that sweater.
I got this in a Yankee swap at my youth group. And
You should give it back.
There it is. Got an Avengers logo all over the sides. Bella said I look ugly. Our sister, she said I look super ugly, and it's whatever.
Oh,
I'm embracing it. So
She meant it in love, I'm sure.
yeah.
embracing it.
Later, she said she was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I don't actually think you're ugly." And I was like, "Bella, it's okay. You're allowed to think I'm ugly." Which I believe that. If you think I'm ugly, that's fine.
I think it was
be honest.
ugly sweater look, like, the Christmas sweater thing.
she was trying to
this is
compliment
beautiful.
you.
Yeah.
She thought you
Yeah.
were going to an ugly sweater contest.
And you're going to win, definitely.
Yeah, you're a winner.
I'm a winner. I'm a winner in everything.
And Joe, you're also going to ugly sweater contest as well? Is that-
Oh, that's terrible.
It's a button down, you moron.
that's terrible.
I'm
It's a
I'm
beautiful.
offended
See,
now.
it's like if you do this, you.
All right.
Why is he touching me?
Why are you
I don't
touching
know.
me?
See that?
Don't show off
Exposed.
This
Two
feels,
chest
Can you
hairs.
blur?
you know,
What? I don't know what you did.
I unbuttoned your shirt. I wanted to prove it's not a sweater.
This is not this type of show. So, moving on.
You did skip over my shirt here. This is
Very
this is my
Hawaiian.
yeah,
Hawaiian.
that was intentional. Okay, I was trying to save you. Goodness gracious. So, Joe, tell me about your lovely shirt here.
No.
Dad, your shirt looks nice.
Thank you. Can we say why I decided to do this?
Yes.
I mean, we missed Christmas. What day are we filming this? Early January?
Yeah.
The 7th, January 7th.
Yeah, so we missed Christmas so because of that silly little virus called COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're doing a family Christmas today, January 7th.
On January 7th.
How does the Hawaiian look go? Or
I typically wear nothing but gray, black, bland, but we're partying today, so I threw on this.
so it's just the party, the general party.
Yeah, and it's red and green, so I mean it's Christmas.
Oh, that's true.
That's what.
So today we wanted to introduce and kind of get some backstory on our father. Growing up, he's had some stories that he's told us that are pretty funny, and I don't know, some of those might come up, and some of them kind of show how or why he is the person he is today. Some of them don't. I don't know. Just like it shaped you a little. So I don't know. It'd be fun to get into it. Also fun to talk about kind of the dynamics of his three boys here. Interviewing them, almost not really, but just kind of having a conversation. And
We're allowed to ask the questions that we normally wouldn't be able to ask
It's true.
in real life.
He would beat us if we did.
yeah, he can't whip us on podcast.
Yes,
this
I
guy-
can. Get you
This
right
guy,
over my knee.
you think he's a nice guy, oh, Mr. Pastor? I mean, he
pastor.
grabs the belt. I mean, it's a whole.
That is in the
story.
Bible. That's in the Bible.
It's almost
Bible.
biblical.
He's
how
not-
much-
Message Bible.
It's almost biblical how much blood there is. Okay,
Wow.
you know what I mean?
Okay, that is. We are not starting in a good light.
This is your plea to DSS. Like, this is the only way we can get out to you and tell you.
I'm blinking in Morse code.
By the way, let me just say, I'm not a pastor. All right, let's put that to bed. I did some youth work. I preach occasionally, but I am not a pastor.
Okay.
He's triggered already.
Yeah, I'm definitely triggered. Don't call me a pastor.
All right.
So, Dad, you did bring this up that we were dealing with some COVID stuff, and when we say we, I was the only. Actually, did you get it, Zach?
Don't know. Never.
Okay.
Never got tested, and I don't believe the virus is real, anyways. So.
Okay. Figment of your imagination.
Yeah, exactly.
But
This round, he didn't.
Okay.
He may have gotten something sick
I
before.
definitely have the antibodies for sure. I have had it at some point because there's no way I didn't get it. Like, because
because
you know,
you're
so
in the house.
yeah, 100%. Yeah.
But this side of the table did have it.
I did.
I was just setting up by saying I haven't been able to see you. It's let's say roughly a month. It's been a while since I've been over. So what I kind of did, which was kind of fun, is I went back on, I think it was your YouTube channel, and was watching some of the original podcast of the fantasy football that you three did together.
Yeah, that was fun.
I was enjoying watching that. I haven't seen it since it came out, a year or two ago.
Couple years ago.
Yeah.
Actually, I showed Zack and Sam one, and reminded them that the second to last one, and you were on there, and you and Zack were battling, and I get punched in the face. I mean, I thought we did. That was just so fun.
Mm-hmm. I was cracking up. Me
too.
Yeah.
I mean, it was fun to do. Zack's really first cutting his teeth on producing a show, a lot of different live action stuff, audio stuff, funny ad skits. I mean, a lot of it was so impromptu. I just come in with a few notes, and then Sam and I would play off each other. Zack would add his part, and I had a great time. So anyone wants to ever watch that, it's on JJM Cape. I believe that's my YouTube channel, JJM Cape. And just see us bantering around. If you just want to watch one, I think it's episode 16, second to last one.
Yeah.
Joe's highlighted in that one too.
It was fun. Even from the side of it was about our fantasy football, but that part didn't even matter. It was more about just having fun, just the goofiness of it.
I did like how you plugged your channel in there. That was smooth. I mean, that was really smooth.
Listen,
hey, just like and
check
subscribe.
out Super Sam. It
all
has
I need
0
is
videos.
952 more subscribers, and I'll start making some money.
Yeah, there you go. You're almost there.
We can also plug, your movie, Harry's Stash,
Blue Streak,
or Blue Streak.
Wow, so many.
Yeah, this is Plug City over here. Might as well be at Best Buy. Goodness gracious. All right.
Veggie Tales, we plug it all.
Yeah. Okay.
By the way, New York bestseller.
No, isn't
You wrote a book?
Yeah, that's not a movie.
Also, New York bestseller is not a thing. It's New York Times.
Oh, that's
bestseller.
right.
That's not a, yeah.
Drugs are probably New York's best seller.
That and crime.
Yes.
Wow.
Anyway.
Dad, I was just sitting here before we started rolling, and I thought, this would be kind of funny. Growing up in your teenage years, how do you rate yourself from 1 to 10, 10 being the best, of being a teenager growing up?
Well, what kind of being the best teenager I could be?
Okay, I'm sorry. Let's say best in the sense of your parents did not have to worry about you. You were making smart decisions, and I don't know. You got a good head on your shoulders.
Yes.
Before you answer that,
Yeah.
if I were to answer that for him, I would have to say 9, just because you've only told me the stories about when you made great decisions in high school. So I don't really know anything about your poor decisions in high school.
Conveniently, I've forgotten all maybe the ones I made some poor decisions. No,
Select editing.
I grew up going to church, knew the right and wrong, all that sort of thing, and I didn't like getting in trouble.
Okay.
I liked being on my parents' good side. I liked being the person people looked up to. I was unfortunately labeled everyone's big brother. All the cute girls. Oh, you're such a good big brother.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's really sweet. Anyway, so I chose a lot of good and godly things, mainly because I wanted people to like me, not because I was all that good and godly. I wanted to be liked and didn't want to get in trouble.
Yeah.
But like every kid, I made my things I didn't do or shouldn't have been doing pretty secret. So it didn't show to many people. In my heart, I'd say I'd give it a 6.
Okay.
My outward to other people, 9 sounds right.
Okay. Sam, what if I
Holy
ask
crap.
you this question?
Whoa. I'm in the heart of it, okay?
Wait, hold on. I know you are. Up to this point, with Dad on with us so that he can kind of hold you accountable a little bit.
I'm not answering this question.
Where would you put yourself? You don't have to be scared.
I feel like I'm on Dr. Phil right now.
Talk to us, son. Talk to us.
50% down the middle.
Maybe good manners.
When it comes to with other people, probably like 8.5.
So like when you go over like friends' houses and stuff, the parents love you.
the parents like me, but you know,
The kids don't.
I don't want to say anything because they're probably all watching this right now. So I have to choose my words very
No, the youth
selectively.
group leaders like you. The kids like you. Everybody likes Sam. I mean, he's so likable when he's not here.
Wow.
Is my face red yet?
Okay.
Oh my
Sam, it's the same color as your sweater right now, man. I mean, Joe, Kira, what is your point to this?
I really needed a heads
do you have
up
a-
for that question, guys.
So
Do you have a point to it?
there wasn't really a massive point. I just
Okay.
thought it'd be funny.
That was good. That was
No,
good.
it's good. Embarrassing Sam. We should have that segment every
Okay.
podcast.
Time to embarrass Sam.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, if you were to ask me that in 3 years, I could give you an actual answer.
Well,
But you know,
yeah, it's all good.
I'm not that humble to give you an answer. So
There's
Summed
another
up, the
point.
question would be: you know right and wrong. What's the percentage you choose right? And you're saying
Sarah,
50-50.
you're trying to keep my record of wrongs for me. Is that what you're doing?
We're keeping
Thanks.
score, Sam. Yes, exactly.
I mean, hey, that's what Dad's always said. You know, he wants us to be like by 18, ready to get married and start a family. Like by 18, let's.
Have a good head on
I'm
our
not telling you
shoulders.
to do it.
No,
I'm
no,
saying
like
be
if
ready
you were,
to.
yeah, be ready, and be better than you.
Yeah, that'd be
Isn't
great.
that like the
Always want to
standard?
be better.
Better
Want your
than-
kids to be better than you are, sooner than you were, and ready to go sooner.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
been my goal as a parent. You guys have taken it on, you particularly, Joe, has been taking it on as, oh, this is what I'm
A
supposed
little
to do.
bit more literally.
Yeah. I was just kind of, I want my parenting to be done by the time you're 18. The big chunk of it, all the infusing to be done, really to be done by 16, and then hands off and watch you go from 16 to 17 to 18 and go, okay, you're doing well. Oh, no, you still got to be straightened out on this line or this line.
Yeah.
And so I wanted it to, the majority of my parenting to be done by 16 and have 2 years of proving yourself. So at 18, I can go, yeah, good. You can go off to college. You can get married, whatever, that sort of thing.
I do have to say that philosophy that I specifically remember where I was when you told me this, but my father, or you as my father, how did you phrase it? So your father was better than his father, and
Absolutely.
you're better,
That was not hard.
and then you are better of a father than your father was. There's just, he wasn't a Christian yet. There were just
He was in the learning
little
phase, yeah.
rougher of a crowd.
Love him. Wonderful guy.
Oh, absolutely.
And he got better every year.
Yeah. But just that kind of pattern, and then where you're like, now it's your job to be better than you. Like, just maybe it's not a better person. It could just be a better father. Like that's. It wasn't you didn't say it where I took it literally. It was just like, no, every generation we get better. We, as let's say Miele's here, we're getting better, and just. So I don't know. Growing up, seeing you and just how you treated us, and thus far, just through our lives, I'm like, this is a pretty tall task here. Like,
Yeah.
what am I supposed to do? That's a little, I don't know. Hopefully, I'm hoping I can find like a huge flaw, so I'll be like, perfect. I can be better than this. I mean, you know,
I'm sure I got flaws.
I'm trying to find a big gaping one, so I've been like.
Well, listen, I've been blessed to be on a path to becoming like Christ since I was young. And so that's what, better than my father. I'm never going to be better than my heavenly father, but that's my goal. And my dad would tell you, he grew up in a rough situation where his dad literally taught him how to steal. And so he's like, I'm not doing that, and I'm going to treat my kids better. But he did as much as he could, as well as he could, for as long as he could. And my job is to take that pattern of being more good and godly and more Christ-like and keep going. And you guys, hopefully that's the mantle that you're taking up and started by Papa.
Yeah, it's always.
Let me say, before we get too deep in, I just want to say I'm really proud of you guys. I love the podcast. I've watched, I think 4 of them now. And it's just fun. I love seeing you guys banter back and forth, make fun of each other, have fun, but infuse good and godly things. And I hope this thing takes off. I think you guys got a lot to add. I love the high school, college years, young married, all the different things that can come out of this podcast for people. It's fun for me to watch.
Yeah. we've enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah,
Doing it.
Yeah,
Especially since Zach does most of the work.
that's right. Yeah,
It's really
Sign
bad.
up
I
tonight.
literally do nothing on this podcast.
We do need to find a job for Sam
I
to
have
do.
right now. My job is gathering pictures of us when we were young. I mean,
That's true. Yeah,
that's literally my
Sam,
only task.
That's a separate project. That's not for the podcast. That's for the FBI, dude.
That's just to keep you busy. It's busy work for Sam, so he doesn't
Yeah.
get himself in trouble.
There we go. That'll
speaking,
tell you how I am 1 to 10.
speaking of the podcast, and thank you for the encouraging words.
Thank you for
that
paying
means
for
a
the
lot.
mics also.
Yeah.
Thanks for the
This
moolah.
beautiful sound comes to you by Jeff Miele's wallet.
Executive producer, which
Exec-
basically means you pay for stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
And I built the table.
It's
It's
true. Beautiful
That's true,
table.
Actually, yeah, we do need to give him props.
Yeah.
Did you sign it anywhere?
No
Did
pun
you sign
intended.
I
it?
don't think I did. I just verbally signed it by saying I built it.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
I gotcha.
I missed it.
I said no, you said
Give him props. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
pun
it's a prop.
intended.
No, I get it.
I mean, it's kind of a prop.
I just think so much of this potential that you guys have. That I'm like, we got to build something that works well in the table, and
Yeah, it
This
also
was-
fits for us four.
Yeah,
Like
I
add
like
in
it.
another.
just scraps I had in the garage. It's the backside of our old church sign that we had, right? And that's what it is.
Yeah.
And so it's all good stuff. It's
On
fun.
the note of podcasts, though, I am curious, whoever's listening and watching, how many hours a month would you want to listen to us? So tell us like how much you want us to post, pretty much. Like, are you guys interested in weekly, maybe like twice a month? Like, I'm just curious if, and we need to get them commenting because apparently that helps algorithm. So
Algorithm, yeah,
just
yeah.
let us know if you get sick of how long it takes to get sick of our voices, pretty much.
there we go. And also, like these podcasts have been like an hour to an hour and a half long. You know, that's
no.
Really?
They've been
Incorrect.
50 minutes.
Yeah.
I thought they'd be like an hour and a half.
You record for that long, but
Yeah,
Zach,
I
Zach
haven't watched
cuts out.
them, so
Sam, I actually cut you out of all of them. Did you not know that? You're not even there.
This is his first podcast.
Guys, welcome Sam Miele.
thank you, everyone. Oh my
He
god,
did
I'm
leave
excited
in
to be here.
when he did the Donald, right?
Yeah, that's true.
At the end of
Well, that was Donald. That wasn't even.
that was the funny. I can keep watching that. That one cracks me up so much.
Then the podcast.
If you don't know what
one.
I'm talking about, episode 1, the end.
Yeah.
He turns
skip
into
all
Donald
the middle
Trump.
when they're
and-
talking. I just come in at the end and just spice it up so
At
well.
your own voice. Very
I will
rant-
say that's the only part that I actually watched. I just skipped to the end just to listen to myself.
I think that's what
It's so
everyone does,
stupid.
probably.
hilarious.
Very random thought. I told Sam, and I'm curious if this is a thing or I don't know. So, squashing the beef, is that a saying?
No.
It isn't? No. Okay, it's a saying in my head. I always thought that was a saying. Squashing the beef, meaning getting rid of the of whatever tension, the two people coming together and fighting it out and squashing the beef between them.
Resolving conflict.
Yeah, but I thought
Papa used to say, "Are we in a beef?
okay.
Like, are
heard
we
that
in a
before.
fight?"
Yeah, beef. Yeah,
We
you
got beef.
What's a
You're-
beef?
yeah.
It's
So
like-
and then squashing it, like so here's what was my thought. We illustrated by saying a segment of squashing the beef between the brothers. We have a big thing of beef, and we take a squash and we pound the
squash the
beef.
Now
What
I'm
a
in.
waste of
This is
beef.
like good quality beef, and we can eat it.
No,
I
it's-
hope so.
Is it raw?
Yeah, it's raw. I was thinking ground beef, a pile of ground beef, and you squash. Just
That's a
Or
great
better
idea.
yet, it's it's a live cow, and we squash.
Now I'm in.
yeah.
We grab a
All
mallet.
right, so Joe, where did you hear this? Why are you asking this question?
Well, I told Sam, and he's like, "I've never heard that saying before," and I thought I don't know, you know a lot of sayings. So I'm like, I was just curious if it's an actual saying.
I've never. I mean, like I said, I remember Papa just a couple of years before he passed. He called me, and he says, "Jeff, are we in a beef?" Like, what? First of all, like, what do you know, like my mind goes to funny, like Zach's, and like, are we in a cow together? No. And like, what do you? Oh, are we in a fight? No, Dad. What? We haven't fought in like 20 years. When you call me a bleep head because I spilled a bunch of paint on the roof, which actually that wasn't a fight. It was the funniest thing ever. But anyway, no. He goes, okay, I must have dreamt it. You know, I've been feeling anxious for 2 days, and I feel like we've been in a fight. And I'm like, no, we're not in a beef. That was the last time but squashing the beef. I really thought you were talking about squash and beef, like we're talking about
okay.
food. So no, I've never heard it.
Okay.
I don't know where it came from. You must have dreamt it.
Yeah,
Just like Papa
I dreamt it.
And you dreamt, can you remember the origin of that in your brain?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't know. Moving on, that really doesn't matter whatsoever. But I did have a question. Now, this is directed towards Dad, but I think it'd be interesting if all three of us answered. Is growing up, was there anything that stood out to you, our grandfather, your father, that any advice that he gave you that you've kind of taken through your life, or actions, or his actions showing like a way of life that you've implemented in your own?
I really don't think he's definitely not one of those dads who would, son, let me sit you down and give you a whole speech on what I think you should do for life or that sort of thing. I don't think he had that much confidence in himself or his ability to communicate. He really thought that we were more educated than him, so we could kind of speak better than he did.
Okay.
And so he didn't use a lot of words like, son, let me sit you down and tell you this bit of advice. So it's really about watching his life. And I remember as a kid, young, elementary, early junior high, I got to go to work with him every Thursday afternoon when he would drive to different banks and 7 or 8 different stops. And all these people would hand me a lollipop because there were banks. They were free. And I said, hey, want a lollipop? But I remember years and years of going to, and so many people just said, your dad is so kind, so helpful, so wonderful. He's one of the nicest people I've ever met. And I'm like, oh, okay. Right, that's nice, but just the consistency of hearing that over and over and over, I was like, oh, it sunk in. And then when I started working for him at the bank, high school years,
Okay.
I actually got to see that, him being kind and helping people far beyond what his job was required to do. Even someone had a problem back at their house, and he'd walk by, say, I'll stop by after work and fix your plumbing for you, whatever. I mean, just kindness, giving, loving.
Okay.
And then he transferred that into the home when I was a teenager, and I'd have friends over. And some of my friends at his funeral told me, he's like, your dad was one of the best human beings I've ever met. And that's, like,
That's
wow,
a huge compliment.
huge, And so just the way he lived his life, just kind, loving, and then it was easier for him to do outside of the home at first. Then he did it in the home, and then he did it for people coming in the home. And then as grandfather stuff, he knocked it out of the park, right?
Yeah, he did.
Connecting with each one of his grandkids, which he had, 14 or something like that.
Do you remember seeing that trend? Because you were saying there's a transition from work to home to, like, do you specifically remember, what was it that clear, or now looking back on it, you're like, oh, okay, I see how.
No, it wasn't clear, and I wasn't astute enough to think about it and watch it. I just, in retrospect, looking back, you go, look at that. I can see the pattern. And you do that when, he passed a couple of years ago, and you just have the opportunity to go, I remember when I was a kid, and I could just now, thinking about that, all those different things outside the house, then in the house, and now just later in his life, when all the grandkids talked about him, like, oh, he would call me. I was like, he'd call you too? Like, I thought I was special being his son. No, all the grandkids got phone calls and just special relationships with him. And it's a tall, you just said something like earlier, I think it's a tall order to follow after me. Well, I feel like it's a tall order to follow after my dad along those lines.
Yeah.
It's funny you bring up the calling, because that was one of the biggest things was he would always call us, and I wasn't always the best with answering my phone. And I remember he left a voicemail once, almost like lecturing me about, you got to pick up your phone. You got to get it. You can't, it's bad business. You got to get on it. And
he was talking about having a small business and how you need to pick up your phone,
absolutely.
wasn't he?
Yeah, and he was right. And I was like, all right, Papa, you got me. I'm sorry. I'll get you next time, all right? And,
you were part of that millennial generation of, oh no, the phone's actually ringing. What do I do?
Yeah, well, I mean, yes, that was part of it, but also just like, I don't always have my phone on me or whatever. It's not, whatever. It's not always on me. Yeah, he was very, very generous with his time, and he would just he cared, and so he would.
Yeah, you could tell that he cared a lot too.
Right, yeah,
absolutely. It wasn't like, oh, I have to spend this amount of time.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And I think, later in life he had a lot of health issues, and it made it so he couldn't, do much walking and without being seriously in pain. So I think that was kind of a blessing in disguise, maybe, because it gave him time to, invest in calling all his grandchildren.
He
and
chose.
kids and
He chose to take that time and do what he could with it.
yeah.
Being smart. Going down memory lane a little bit here, but the original question was, could we think of something we learned from our dad? So him with Papa, and now us. Anything that Dad told us growing up that kind of stuck with us. Zach, do you have a thought? Anything that Dad did, just as character-wise, or told you?
So yeah, it was just like, son, you disappoint me a lot, so stop it. And I was like, those are words for the wise, and I have turned my life around because of that.
You disappoint me.
Well, yeah, and I'm.
When did I start saying that? Were you like 2?
Yeah, I think it was 2.5. It was my 3rd birthday. Sorry. You're like, listen, son, if you pick your nose again, I will beat the living heck, or beat the living snot, actually, right out of you.
So you don't have to pick your nose.
And I immediately took it out and I never picked my nose again. And
that one didn't sink in for me.
Yeah, I've been trying to pass it along to Sam, and that one hasn't worked out thus far. But
Okay.
do you have any thoughts, Joe? No, I'm just kidding. Okay. No, actually, I actually mentioned this briefly with Papa. Is just generosity, and that's the word and the thought that comes to mind with Dad. I feel like I'm going to talk about you like you're dead. Like this would be my eulogy at your funeral.
Nice. You might as well start writing
I'm
it.
pretend like you're not here, okay? So I don't want to make eye contact because that's too personal.
I'll look over.
It's too I don't want to feel like we're like having a moment or anything.
I understand.
So I'll just yeah. So anyways, he's great and whatever. So.
What a great eulogy. My dad, he was great. Whatever. Bye.
No,
Generosity.
very generous. Yeah, very generous. With his money mostly. I mean, just
As we brought up,
shelling it out.
as we brought up with the microphone.
Point is, yes, he's very generous with his money, and he's a servant as well. So generous with his abilities or
Time.
hands, his virtue, his like he'll help you kind of thing.
Only
You know
his
what I mean?
hands?
Like his hands, his toes, his nose. He's like, I was like, Dad, can you smell this? And be like, I got you, son. These socks are smelly. Yes. Okay. All right. Thank
You
Dad.
do need to wash them.
Yeah. I do that every morning. So,
Generosity.
Yes.
In time, in finances. Pretty much what he has, he is generous with.
Yeah.
Which.
What do you think about that as a eulogy? I feel like I nailed that.
I'm gonna judge when you're done to see which one gets the main speaking spot.
All right. I like it, Joey. Good luck beating that.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
That was
3, 2, 1. It's now I have to remember what my question was. Oh yeah. What did I take from Dad? Advice that he gave me growing up. I thought this stuck out to me, and honestly, this is why this podcast. Well, I'm not going to say why the podcast exists, but it's a big reason behind it. Is I remember growing up. I don't know. I was maybe 12, just kind of getting into my formative years. Is that how you would put that?
Yeah, perfect.
Becoming a person.
Yes, becoming a person.
Yeah. Something along the lines of just put a fair amount of energy into your relationships with your siblings because they're going to be your friends throughout the years. And at that point, I was 12, you were maybe 10 or 11, and then Sam and Bella were significantly younger. I don't know, 7, 5. So at that point, I'm like, oh, I'm going to be friends with my 5-year-old sister. That it didn't really make too much sense because at that point, it's just a different relationship at that point. But he was like, oh, it's because I think you got that out of your own experience. So I started trying to implement that. And now it's just starting to get to a point where like, oh, okay, yeah, like we're grown up enough to, hey, I enjoy you. I enjoy hanging out with you. Just hanging out. And that's why this podcast is going on. And because I'm lonely and I want to talk to people. So.
Yeah, I mean, I remember very specifically telling each one of you. I mean, because you think about it, every Easter, Christmas, Thanksgiving, where are you going to be? You're always coming back home. You're always going to be connected. If you want to, I mean, you can rebel and go wherever you want to go, but if you're going to stay with the family, good and godly, and try to be with us, you're always going to see each other for the rest of your lives. And so why not work on those relationships, right? Why spend time and effort on outside the family relationships? Just understand that this matters. And I got that revelation as a junior hire that I should invest more, but it was, for me, it was out of pain. I remember investing into a friend that relationship went badly, and then a female friend that I was really close friends with, but she ended up marrying, dating someone, and so I lost that relationship. Like, okay, I shouldn't spend effort on relationships of the opposite sex unless I'm dating them, because that's just going to go away.
I also remember you saying that when I was like 12.
Yep.
You're like, don't worry about the opposite sex, just as far as friendship wise.
And then I think you added a song with me, but you said, when you get married, your wife's probably not going to want you to have all of these other female friends.
It's not going to go very
so
well.
It's not like it's not a big deal at this point.
Yeah. So invest in the relationships you're going to have long term, and it's going to be your family and maybe one or two, maybe three males outside that you can invest in, and just invest wisely. We talk financially, but we're talking relationally. Invest wisely because they're going to be with you. So I remember that being a revelation to me that has worked out well. I mean, I was Uncle Dan's best man. Uncle Dan was Uncle Doug's best man. Uncle Doug was my best man, and so we played that out, and we continue to play that out in our lives.
2 other brothers.
So that's how it's going to be with us, right? Because I'm concerned that Joe's going to be Zach's best man, and I'm going to be left out. This is going to be terrible. Because if that happens, neither of you are going to be my best man.
It's going to be like a spite.
It's out of spite. I'm going to put you at the back of the line.
All right, Sam. I'm really interested to hear this one.
Okay. So just what advice has come from Dad? I'd say I have a couple pieces of like actual words of advice that he's told me, but one thing that's just observing is how much time he puts into me, just especially driving me places. He drives me everywhere, and I feel kind of bad, and I'm excited to get my license just so I don't have to put that on him anymore. But I've really appreciated that.
When there's 4 kids going in all different directions, that's a bit of a hardship, all the driving, right? But now I'm just down to 2, and you're ready to get your license pretty soon. You have your permit. And I realize that I get concentrated one-on-one time with my children when they're in the car. So I decided a long time ago to never complain about driving. I don't care where we got to go. It's me and you, and we get time together. And it's a great opportunity to have conversations you wouldn't at home.
Okay.
Yeah. That's how guys have good conversations, because we're both looking straight ahead at the road, and we don't have to look at each other. We can just, it works perfectly. Yeah. Another thing is just don't be stupid, because that's something I've dealt with in my life. Just
You're telling
doing
me?
stupid things. No, like what you've told me. Just don't be stupid. The greatest piece of advice that I've ever gotten from Dad is don't be stupid. Or put dirt on it. That one of the other two.
Rub some dirt on it.
Rub some dirt on it. You'll be fine. Yeah.
I think it's funny that you're like, I've struggled with being stupid.
It's been a real problem in my life.
Not
and
only
my dad has helped me out of it.
Not only just the choices I made, but just common sense. Like
Thinking
I've just
through
have no
life
common
a little
sense.
bit.
So Dad has a lot of common
that's part
sense?
of that was another
So-
thought I had was his wisdom, right? And so you have a lot of wisdom because you're an elder fella, we'll say. So you have a lot of years behind your
But
rear.
behind you.
In the rear view mirror.
Yeah. That was so funny. You
Behind
said
your
behind your, and Joe said butt.
For you, you're smart enough to know right and wrong, and then when you just choose wrong, like I'm not going to say, son, when you get to this point, let me help encourage you towards doing this or this. I'm just like, you're smart enough to not be stupid, so don't be stupid. Like for you, I just felt like that was a common theme. Just choose right, don't be stupid.
Yeah.
Should be a bumper sticker.
Honestly, it's the best way to go. But the actual, like, I think I wrote this down here, and I think I got this word for word of what you would say quite often. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but I'm just going to read this. So you would often say to me, when you're focusing on yourself, 1 out of the 7 people in the family are focusing on you. Like, you're the only one who's focusing on yourself. But when you focus on the other 6 people in the family, you've got everyone else in the family focusing on you.
Yeah.
Did I get that right?
You did, but just adding the why. When you're focusing on yourself, nobody else wants to help you because you're just being a selfish brat. You in the collective, whoever it is, whoever's being selfish for that, because no one else wants to help you when you're already stealing and taking and fighting for yourself. But when you fight for other people and everyone else is doing that, now you've got 6 people on your side instead of just the one.
Yeah.
It's taken you a long time to get that in your head, though, because selfishness is what sin is about. And so as you've been getting less selfish, less sinful, and you're like, oh, I think that thing that he's been telling me for years is actually going to work.
See, that's the thing about your advice, is that every time you say something, I'm always like in the back of my mind, I really don't want to agree with this. It makes me so mad. I give it 3 minutes and I'm like, dang it, he's right. Oh! And it makes me so angry. But if I, like, once I get a few minutes, it goes away and then I'm just like, whatever. Because even if I like for longer than 3 minutes, keep thinking what you said, or like, I don't agree with that. It's always best just to do it, because then obviously, he knows something I don't, so. And that's something he's beaten out of me. Not literally. It's just pride of thinking that I'm right.
I don't know. Let's get into the spanking thing.
Pride.
It's real,
Pride,
folks.
no, just like verbally
I hate to
thinking
say
that
it.
I'm right. Why does it keep coming up that dad's abusive? I don't understand. Every one of us
Wow.
has mentioned
Listen,
beating.
But everything else is counteracting that, so I
not
think
true.
we're doing all right.
Yeah. We got to have a little levity. Come on.
I do. Does anything stand out to you with raising us 3 and then also your youngest daughter of a failure, or of a funny failure, maybe a more like, oh yeah, I really failed on this, of raising this child or children in general?
When he lost his temper.
What are you talking about?
all those times.
Yeah, all those times.
Yeah, you brought one up when you reminded me of with this one. So I don't know. He was probably 7, 6, 5, somewhere
he was
in that.
young, yeah.
He was young. We were outside, and bunch of broken logs or rotting logs, and he's standing high on one piece, and I broke one over here. I kicked it, cracked it. Well, I didn't realize the way it was all intertwined. That meant he dropped immediately, which would have been one thing, but he got caught up, his shirt caught up on a branch sticking out. So he literally is hanging
By the back of his shirt.
By the back of his shirt. And I'm like, oh, crud. And I go to grab, and unfortunately, the back of that, the stump.
Yeah.
Slices right up the front of my.
No, the back.
Yeah,
Because
it
you
was
were
your
on the
back.
back.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Or were you hanging front? I don't know. Whichever way you're.
I don't know.
There was a large scratch, bleeding scar. That was just
I don't have
terrible.
it anymore, but I kind of wish it did.
I think we were building our tree fort.
Yeah, it was out front.
And he was standing on a limb, which wasn't high off the ground, but for
Foot and a half.
yeah.
whatever.
But the problem was he got hung up.
Yeah, like that's a doozy. Man.
Yeah.
I'm just glad it didn't, like, if it was on the front, maybe I was thinking it was going to hit your eyes. I don't know. All I know is that was one of those ones that I remember going, okay, that was dumb.
Did you know I was there and you just thought it'd be fine, or did you not even think about it?
I didn't go, okay, math, leverage, geometry.
It was just
breaking this would break this, and he would
It
drop.
was a quick bang, like bang bang. Like I remember watching it, but like, what just happened?
Being more specific about, just do I remember any parenting fails individually? Not typically in the moment, because I give parents a lot of grace. I give myself a lot of grace. Like, I can't get every interaction perfect. I went overboard. I've maybe said something I shouldn't have, gotten a little too strong, a little too harsh, whatever. When I saw it, I was able to use that as an opportunity to say, listen, I'm wrong. I'm sorry. Will you forgive me? Because I think that's one of the most powerful parenting things you can do, is ask for forgiveness from one of your children. I think I'm certain I could have done that more, but pride gets in the way, and pride is everyone's issue.
Yeah, I clearly remember that, and that being a very big thing for me.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
yeah. I think as parents we should try to find ways to say, "I'm sorry, I was wrong. Will you please forgive me?" As husband and wife, and it's such a humbling. And for me, life comes down to pride and humility, and so it's such a humbling attitude to show to someone who's subservient to you. They're younger than you. They're your children.
Yeah.
It's awesome. So I remember those moments, not specifically what they were, but I remember being able to come to you and ask for forgiveness. And so I know there was some in the moment, but when each one of you have gone through hard things in your life, and I get there and I go, how did I do this wrong? What did I do wrong? What did I not see? You know, the Bible says, be watchful, stand firm, act like men. Wasn't I watchful for down the road in saying, oh, this might be coming that I didn't see coming, that I didn't prepare you for, and now you're going through this hardship. So I look back and what didn't I do? And so yes, there's moments like that, but all I can do is again give myself grace and go, well, I have 4 kids and I can't. How would I know? And I didn't see it coming. That's life. And so now I just try to help you in the middle of it. But I just want to, I'll say since he clearly was the hardest, if we want to go down that road, we'll go.
That's gonna have to be like a series, like
the
4 episodes.
All the discipline that he took, add up the other 3 children times 4, and that was equal to how much discipline he took. And that's not. Would you say that's an exaggeration? No, that's not an exaggeration. Just he was harder, and so we had to have a different relationship where I had to do more discipline than I felt bad because it's like I want to interact in a loving, fatherly, kind. You're doing great, but most of our interactions was okay. How do I keep from not killing him today? Because Mom would call me in the middle of the day regularly. Okay, this time he did this. This time he said this, and whatever. He's harder.
But to back to Sam's point, I feel like you were saying like he was that we had this perception that he was perfect, which is interesting because once you said that, I was like kind of got me thinking. I was like, oh yeah, that was very much true because like I remember practically speaking, we'd be sitting at a red light. And he would go, it's going to turn green, and it would turn green. We would be, we'd be at a restaurant. He'd be like, and the waiter's coming, and the waiter
he would say, the waiter's coming in 30 seconds, count.
Right, yes. And then it didn't always come true, but it felt like enough times where like, okay, what is this guy drinking? Like he's smoking something. Like what is going on? Like,
no, we never said that.
I was 7 years old, and I was like, is this guy smoking dope right now? Literally.
But I was
like,
right. But I was right so often. Why was that smoking?
I don't know. I just like the idea of 7-year-old me saying,
little high-pitched voice.
But that was definitely our perception, I think, when we were younger. But obviously, that's why it made it so special when you when you had those moments where you got down on your knee or whatever, or whatever, and said like got on our level basically and said, hey, I messed up, whatever. That was
That's probably true.
Who's your favorite son?
You're asking Dad that?
Yes.
Well, I hope we don't have sons.
Who's my favorite son?
Joe, who's your favorite son?
the one in our galaxy.
The ones shining on us.
That's so stupid.
Oh, where are you? Well, there you go.
Yeah. Same.
No, I don't. Of course, I don't have a favorite son. I have a favorite child. That would be Bella, of course.
I knew you were going to say that.
See, that's why you worded it.
Yeah,
son.
that's why you said son.
I know.
Yeah, she's easily my favorite. Bella.
So the question is, why are you a sexist? Then let me try it again.
No, you have to keep that in.
No. So the question is, hold on. So the question is, why are you a sexist?
I think the question was, do I have a favorite son, or who's my favorite son?
Who's your favorite son?
And of course I don't, because I really do just really enjoy each one of your personalities. Even though I was saying Sam, I discipline the most, I always like to say it this way. He blows me away half the time. with his amazing ability to just all the things he can do. He's physical, sports, musical,
Naturally talented.
so many things. Just his ideas. He comes up with a wonderful thought and deep thoughts and biblical thoughts, and he blows me away like half the time.
And then I go steal a cookie.
And then the other half of the time, I want to blow him away.
I'm sorry.
Wow.
Oh, that ruined that. I'm sorry. I hit the table.
Earthquake.
So he's, that's his own specialness, and he really does. He impresses me a lot, Joey, with your ability to you took life on so quickly, so fast. I'm my own man. I mean, what was it? By 13, I stopped really having to parent you. You just kind of did your own stuff, and
pretty much,
just wow, all the things you're into, and your entrepreneurial attitudes, and being married for 3 years already, owning a home, rebuilding a home, all this stuff.
All right, we get it. Do me.
But what ties in is Sam's love for music. Joey's does a painting. I used to DJ. I used to paint for a living, and then Zack with all of this audio, video editing. I love the fact that we get this, because that was probably my favorite thing I did, the most creative outlet that I did growing up. Because now I'm a home inspector. It pays the bills very well. I'm glad for it. But what I like to do the most creatively was film weddings and make skits and small mini movies with my friends. And that's something that I get to share with Zack. We've been to conferences together, flown around the country. I just love that we connect over that stuff. And as Zack's grown in his maturity, he's become more humble, and he asks me questions, and I get to ask him questions like the other day, yesterday, or this morning. I don't remember. He helped me on an export issue while I was filming something or editing something, and he's like, oh, just do this, this, and this. And I love that we can have these free exchange of ideas over videography and editing.
I don't have kids. I am married, but I don't have kids. Dad, you have 4 of them. What is it that we have to look forward to? Other than poopy diapers, no sleep, and then dealing with Sam's.
You're all going to have one of me. Get ready, boys. I'm in the jeans.
Okay, I am not getting married. I just decided.
That's the difference between getting married and then having children. And then it's how many children you have, because it took to the 3rd one before we got one. No offense. But Bella was so worth it. I was glad to get there. No, I'm just kidding.
Get through it.
Just because he was hard doesn't mean I regret having him. I love Sam so much.
Okay,
I really do.
think I'm going to blame it on external factors. It's not me, okay, guys? All my problems were because I turned blue when I was a baby, okay?
It could be.
So,
a little loss of oxygen
honestly,
at a crucial time at birth.
Seriously, I probably lost something up here, you guys. I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah, we talked about that episode.
Did we?
2, right?
Okay, I think we did, yeah.
Near death. Yeah, okay.
It started making me think about your near-death things. But so I'll just tell you real quick. I got to tell you, we forgot one about Zack during that near-death podcast.
Okay.
Zack got a big 2x8 smacked in his head. You were on. It was a teeter-totter thing.
Yeah.
You stepped on the board. He stepped off the board, but his head was down, and he got a bam, huge welt. If that thing was just a few inches lower, he would have jammed his nose into his head. I don't think he ever would have recovered. That was when I think he would have.
Dad, I don't think I ever recovered. I'm gonna be honest with you.
No, well, literally, you've had headaches and eye issues, and I really think it did mess you up, but it didn't kill you, and it could have. It could have.
So we're coming to, if you remember back, I didn't check on Sam, so he started drugging himself up, and I was the one who smacked Zack up the side with
That's true. Yeah. You stepped off, which means
what was it? It wasn't. It was a lot.
It was
it was like an 8x2 or something.
And it went across a log. You put a log across a huge hole.
Yeah.
Then you teeter-tottered across.
And then
you both were on it.
I stepped off.
Yeah.
And then you were still on it.
It dropped me to the ground.
Yeah.
It shot the other side up, and it just hit you. The question was, what is it that we have to look forward to? Yeah. Because I have to be honest, 3 years of marriage, it's going to be a little interesting bringing some babies into the world. Now that we've kind of established being married already, there's a part that could be good about it, but also a part of I don't know, kind of a little selfish, I think. I want my sleep, or I don't want to have to clean poopy diapers. What's the overall, what's the big picture thing that I'm missing here?
So first of all, what precedes children, hopefully, is marriage, right? Choosing the right marriage partner. But everybody comes to marriage with baggage, right? And so your partner might have a lot more baggage than you. So it takes a while for that baggage to go away, to work through, to be equal. And then you can start growing together on an equal plane. But you can't really grow together on an equal plane until whoever's baggage, maybe you both have baggage into it.
You can fully trust each other, pretty much.
Yeah, because you haven't been hurt. Baggage means you're hurt. You're bringing old things, sins and patterns in family, whatever it is. You get unloaded from that, and then only then can the marriage start growing. And you want to have a healthy marriage for some years, some period of time, ideally before you start having children, because children will just prove that you're not even close to having a good, healthy individual life with the Lord, or you're not being selfless, you're still selfish. And then, being just married, you can still be selfish because, well, it's just one other person that you're giving to.
Yeah.
But once kids start getting involved, it's going to heighten that. So ideally you get rid of baggage on either side, and then you start having some time to grow together so you can deal with your selfishness issues as best as you can, because children will show your selfishness issues because they need every bit of you. And I will always, give encouragement to someone going into marriage and just say, I think what you should do is every moment you're not at work, you give to your spouse. You give to them. I will give to you every moment. And they do the same, and then you get to kind of give back. It's like, okay, listen, go be with your friends. Go do your hobby. You like to play golf. You like to do whatever. You've been with me every day, all the time. And just then they get to give it back to you, and then you receive it as a gift rather than a selfishness, right? And so learning how to do that and how to have a healthy relationship, and you give it back to each other, all that they gave to you, which is every moment you're not at work. That's one thing. And then when children get involved, it's like, okay, I'm giving all my time to you, honey, as a husband, and she's going to say, good, because I need help with the kids. But then hopefully there's still some time that she can say, but go be with your friends or go hang out with your brothers. So it's really about time and selflessness. What happens in the child rearing and the lack of sleep and the diapers and all that stuff? It's a blip on your radar. I mean, it seems like while you're in it, it's the worst thing in the world, the hardest thing to go through. But it's not that hard. It's not that big of a deal. It's totally worth it.
I'm curious. Kind of wish Papa was here to talk about grandchildren, to give that perspective on it, because I don't have kids yet, which means you're not a grandparent yet. So I like to see the full picture of it, like to see it all come around, because I think maybe that's like where the true joy after having all the kids, they finally grow up. Like, I don't know, that just
I found so much joy in parenting. I love videography, just like we were talking about with Zack. So I film a lot, to the point where you guys get annoyed with me. Dad, put the phone away. I film a lot, and I edit a video for every year, and I love
just like
watching
documenting.
The videos.
Yeah, family videos.
Somebody once told me to take a lot of pictures. Because it goes by quickly. I translated that into take a lot of video.
Okay.
Because I just love watching every year of your lives. And I look back, I'm like, man, that feels like 30 years ago, and it was only 10.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know, it goes by fast. And I think when you record the joyful stuff, you remember more joyful stuff rather than, oh boy, was that hard. And then to your point about grandfathering stuff, I got to watch Papa loving on his grandkids, and it looked like nothing but fun. And so I'm looking forward to that. I'm not in any rush to be a grandfather, but it's going to be awesome, because if I have children who value family, well, they're going to value their family, getting to know that their siblings, Uncle Zack, Uncle Sam, Uncle Sam.
I'm going to be Uncle Sam, guys.
That's awesome.
Isn't that the coolest thing ever? God bless America.
Man. And so as long as you love God, love family, love bringing your kids in and having everyone, that's the way God wants it. God puts the lonely in families so they're not lonely. And so I think it's going to be nothing but good. And you guys need a break, bring the kids over. I'm just looking forward to just long life of just loving on kids and grandkids. And we should say that. I've got 2 brothers and a sister.
Yep.
That's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 12, 13 their nieces and nephews.
Yeah.
It's a lot of nieces and nephews, and then they're starting to get married, so their spouses are coming in. I mean, we've got a good, really fun, expanded family. That's why my name is Uncle Daddy Jeff, because I'm an uncle, a dad, and
Yeah,
Uncle
I
Jeff,
forgot. I
or-
wanted to introduce him as Uncle Daddy
Oh,
Jeff.
we never did that. Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
Welcome,
next
Uncle
time
Daddy Joe.
we're planning on having you back. We obviously he's like we said, he's a very wise elder fella, so we're gonna have him back. Emphasis on the wise though. We're gonna have him
that's
back
kind of
on
you.
because you have a lot of good things to say, and you make us better. You make us better.
on a podcast or in
We
live?
might have to watch it back to see
Well,
how the
that's
podcast
fair,
went,
that's fair. But,
no, definitely nice having you. And I have some topics in my head. I think it'll be fun to kind of get your thought and perspective on, and we can argue over a few things.
I get to hang out and chat with my sons. I mean, have me on anytime, all the time. This is fun. Nothing but fun for me.
What are you most concerned about for the three of us individually when it comes to our paths or behaviors or?
That's kind of a harder, longer.
Can we say that for the
question.
next episode?
Oh, but it's
I'll give you a summary.
interesting.
Okay, all right.
It's we've already talked about it, pride and humility.
Yeah.
God opposes the proud but gives grace to the humble. Why would you want the God of this universe to oppose you? You don't. So be humble. Be humble. It's the hardest thing to do. Pride comes stupid easily, and humility is really hard. Fight for humility because you're basically saying, I need help. I'm not perfect. I can't do it all by myself. I might need some cash. I might need a hand. Just the more you're humble, the easier life will be. And so every time I look back on my life and find something that was hard, I was being a prideful idiot.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Long
wrap
enough.
it up here. Again, thank you for listening and liking and subscribing and listen to
commenting.
us on Apple Podcasts and
Which we are not on.
and Spotify and all the platforms we're not on.
Yeah. Go try to find us. We dare you.
Yeah. Good luck with that, Jeff. Thanks for being here and
You're welcome, Zach.
Sam, Joe, you guys.
Everyone has to call me Uncle Sam now. That's
Uncle Sam.
Yeah.
You.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Uncle Sam.
You guys are like Wicked Smaht.
Smaht.
What? Smaht.
See ya. Bye.